A polyline is a chain of lines, arcs, splines, and other geometry. There is a node at every end of a link of the polyline. A node can be either loose, which allows it to swivel like a door hinge, or it can be tangent. In this polyline, there are 4 arcs, and each of the nodes is loose. This allows each arc to move independently of the others. When the arcs of a polyline are loose, you can create cusps. A cusp is when 2 arcs meet at an angle. When you set the nodes between 2 arcs to be tangent, you cannot have a cusp because the definition of tangent arcs is that there is a smooth transition from one to the other. Here are 2 polylines, each of which is a chain of 2 tangent arcs. When arcs are tangent, a line drawn between the center points and the connecting node forms a perfectly straight line. If the arcs are not tangent, then a line connecting their center points and their connecting node forms an angle. Tangent arcs are dependent upon one another. Therefore, when you change the radius of one arc, all of the arcs that are tangent to it must change their radius and center point in order to remain tangent to each other. I will show you. I will select the function to make a node loose or tangent. I will now click this node, which is a cusp between 2 arcs. This node is now tangent. The cusp is gone, and now the first arc makes a smooth transition to the second arc. There is a cusp between the second and third arc, but when I switch that node to tangent, that cusp disappears also, and those arcs are now forming a smooth transition. I will now click the third node, and that cusp also vanishes. Tangent arcs allow a polyline to create smooth curves, but they have the disadvantage that it is very frustrating to edit the shape of the polyline, because when you make a change to one of the arcs, all of the arcs that are tangent to it are going to change also, thereby altering the entire polyline. For example, if I flex this particular arc, the entire polyline changes its shape. Therefore, by altering just one arc, I must now alter all of the following arcs and nodes until I get the shape that I want it to be. If you are creating a shape with curves, and if you expect to edit the curves because you are not certain what you want the final shape to be, you should consider using splines instead of tangent arcs. I will show you how much easier it is to edit splines. I will click the right mouse button for the Draw menu, and then pick Draw Spline, and then start clicking where I want a node to be. Notice that there is automatically a smooth transition from one node to the next. There are no cusps. If I want a cusp, I have to set one of the nodes to loose. The shortcut key is to press the L key on the keyboard for loose, or press T for tangent. Therefore, I can let the mouse hover over this node and press the L key on the keyboard, and it becomes a loose node, which allows a cusp. So now when I move that node, I can create a cusp between those sections of the polyline. If I let the mouse hover over that node and press T for tangent, it becomes tangent, and the cusp disappears. When you move a node of a spline, it affects the nodes next to it, but not the entire polyline, and this makes it much easier to alter the shape of the polyline. A spline can be loose or tangent to arcs and lines. Furthermore, the links of a polyline can be changed from lines to arcs to splines. There are different ways of converting a link. One of them is to slide the mouse over to the right side of the screen, switch to the XYZ tab, and change the link type. For example, I will convert this link of the spline into a line to make it perfectly straight. The spline is tangent to that line at both of its ends. If I set this node to loose, then I create a cusp between the line and the spline. You can also change a link by letting the mouse hover over it and then clicking the right mouse button and then selecting the Convert options. You can change the entire polyline this way or change only the link that the mouse is hovering over. The keyboard shortcut key for the Convert menu is the letter C. Therefore, you can let the mouse hover over the link that you want to change and then press C for the Convert menu and then select the option you want. I will convert this link of the spline to an arc. When I flex the arc, the spline adjusts its shape to remain tangent to the arc, but most of the polyline remains exactly as it is.